guys, so today's video is going to be my May favorites. I cannot believe it. We are starting the month of June already. I do think that May slowed down a little bit. I mean, not that much, but I feel like time isn't going by as fast as it was before, but it's still like kind of crazy that it's already June. Like, this year literally has felt like a month long and that's it. Like, I really just don't know where the time is going. So I know I say that every month, but it really is true. Like, it's kind of crazy how fast it goes. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the products I've been like using a lot in the month of May. There's honestly, again, I know I say this every single time, but this time there really isn't too many favorites. I really have been cutting down on makeup spending lately. I haven't really been buying too many products. And when I do buy something, it's going to be from ColourPop. I did order the Star Wars collection the first week of May when it hit the website on May 4th. And then since then, I haven't bought a single thing until last week when I did make another ColourPop order because I wanted to replace two mascaras that I really like. So yeah, we're just gonna get started. Again, there really aren't too many products. So let's start off with eyeshadow palettes, and I want to start off with the eyeshadow palette that I've been using the most this past month. It's been my go-to neutral palette. I talked about it last month, and I'm gonna talk about it this month too because I honestly, this has been my #1 most used palette the past month or so, and I want to use this every single time I'm not working. I mean, I rotated a different eyeshadow palette today and yesterday because I was using this palette literally every time I'm not working, and that is this Sigma Ambiance eyeshadow palette. I did rave about this palette recently, and I'm going to rave about it again. This has become one of my all-time favorite neutral palettes. I just cannot get enough of this palette. It's just so beautiful, you guys. If you guys have not tried Sigma Beauty, I highly suggest that you do. I think you get incredibly high quality eyeshadows for a really good price, and they do sales all the time. So 99% of the time, you're not going to be paying full price. They do 20 to 30% off sales all the time. And there's affiliate codes literally everywhere for Sigma that get you like 15 to 20% off anyway. But I picked this up when they were doing a 30% off sale. So I think I got this for like $35 as opposed to $49. $49 is a little bit expensive. So I'm glad I paid a little bit less money. And I just love this eyeshadow palette. There's so many different finishes of shimmers in this palette. And every single time I use this palette, the mattes just blend beautifully. They're pigmented. I always know that my look is going to be beautiful when I use this palette. The shimmers are so intense and beautiful on the lids. I love like this Marigold and Firefly shades are like sparkly dreams of beautiful sparkly multi glitters in them, and they just look stunning on the eyes. And then you have these incredibly intense wet looking shimmers like Luster and Sunflower, and then you have like this beautiful wet looking shimmer called Midas. And it's really, really beautiful. So my boyfriend started calling me, of course. So yeah, I just love this palette. I think it's beautiful. It blends so gorgeously, and I just can't get enough of this palette. It's so beautiful. And I absolutely love the brush that comes in here. Sigma brushes are amazing, and I cannot believe that I hadn't tried any Sigma brushes before this palette because I never decided to purchase from Sigma before this. And I cannot believe like how impressed I am with this palette because it was on my list for so long and I decided to get it. And of course it became one of my favorite palettes in my collection. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I love it so much. So that is the first palette. And then of course, I know everybody hates this, but it's my channel, and I'm going to tell you guys honestly what I'm using and reaching for, and the rest of the eyeshadow palettes that I'm going to be talking about is ColourPop. So The first one is one that I got back in the end of April, and I felt like it was a little bit too early for me to talk about it in my April favorites. So I'm going to talk about it in this video because I used this quite a few times this past month, and that is the ColourPop Sweet as Can Be Winnie the Pooh eyeshadow palette. This is just such a cute palette for springtime. And honestly, this is the first palette that I honestly was impressed with from ColourPop this year. I really was not too impressed with the all amethyst palette was terrible, and then I actually used the ColourPop Secret Admirer palette today. I decided to whip this one out and use it, and this one really is not as bad as the all amethyst palette. It's not my absolute favorite pink palette in the universe, but the eyeshadows are pigmented. They just don't blend that great. But the all amethyst palette just blends into nothingness. So this palette is okay for what it is. It's cheap. It's whatever. It's okay. This is the good ColourPop quality. And I really do believe at this point, I mean, I've believed this for a long time, that they really do step up the quality in their Disney palettes and like their collab palettes, but especially their Disney palettes. And this quality across the board is really, really nice in this palette. These blend super nice, these mattes. This deepening shade in my Tumbly is such a pretty reddish brown, and it deepens up any look in this palette. Honestly, if this wasn't in here, I probably wouldn't like the palette as much. And then, oh, goodness. Sorry. The shade Best Friends is a good one to deepen up looks, but the metallics are really pretty and intense in this palette. I love the gold shimmer called Make Believe and the shade Oh Bother. They're very pretty, intense metallics. And I love the two greens, Honey Tree and Sing Ho, and then the yellow and the orange are really nice. All around, this is a really, really nice palette, and I think it's a really cute palette for this time of year, and I'm just so glad that they released this collection during the springtime because it makes total sense. So yeah, I really like that one as well. Okay, then the next one is the newest ColourPop palette to my collection, and you guys knew I had to pick up this palette. It was kind of a no-brainer. I was kind of on and this necklace is driving me bonkers. I don't know why it just doesn't stay where it's supposed to be. I think that's as good as it's going to get, as long as you can see the pink heart. So the newest palette to my collection is the ColourPop Star Wars palette. And I've been using this throughout the month to test it out. And I actually really do like this palette. Honestly, as far as wearability goes, though, I'm not really going to be reaching for this palette a whole bunch. Because honestly, I got this because of the collector in me. And also because I love Star Wars. And I was waiting for ColourPop to come out with a classic Star Wars collection. And I actually really, really like the quality of this palette. Is it my favorite color story that they've ever done? No, but I think that they did a great job for the color story for Star Wars. Honestly, I probably could have done without some of the neutrals in here. Honestly, they probably could have taken out this shade and put in like a pop of green or something. Like, I love the reds in here and the blues, and I love how you can create like cohesive looks with this palette. Like, I don't really have to reach into any other palette to create looks with this palette because they have this deepening brown and the black. So those are good to deepen up any look, and I love the different finishes of shimmers that you get in here. You get these beautiful Super Shock shades, you get these really pretty intense metallic shades, and then you get these really pretty matte shades. I forgot there was only two different shimmer finishes in here, the metallics and the Super Shocks. But yeah, they're really pretty. The blue and the red are actually gorgeous, and the gold is really beautiful. The only shade that I haven't used yet on my lid, I mean, I've used actually every shade in this palette, but the only shade I haven't used on my lid is Kessel Rum. I believe I've only used it once on my inner corners. But I just wanted to tell you guys that regardless if I use it or not, the silver is beautiful and intense looking. So I really like this palette. It's really, really nice. And yeah, I would be lying if I didn't say I wasn't using it this month. So Okay, and then the last eyeshadow palette from ColourPop is the Or Kid You Not palette. I really didn't think I was going to use this palette as much as I have this past month. This has just become one of my go-to palettes for the springtime. I just love my looks every time I use this palette. I've raved about this palette so many times, but I just wanted to bring it up again because I did reach for it quite a bit this past month. And I really, really like how it looks on my eyes. It's just so pretty. I love the deepening mattes in here. They're just so beautiful, and the shimmers are intense and gorgeous. And I think that this palette blends way better than the one I'm wearing on my eyes today. But again, it's not like I don't like my look today. It was just a little bit harder to achieve this look. This one, I don't have any issues blending or anything. It's just such a pretty spring palette. And I'm so glad that I picked up this palette. I don't know what I was thinking to think that I didn't need this in my collection, because it really does add something to my collection. It's so pretty. So, yeah. Okay, so now let's move on to just some complexion products. We're just going to run through them really quickly because I really don't have that many. The one foundation I'm going to talk about, because I haven't picked up any new foundation products this past month, but the one I've been using the most is the Very Valentino Light Lasting Perfecting Foundation. I really, really love this foundation. I've been using it a ton this past month. It's in the shade Light R2. And I really, really like it. I think it's beautiful on the skin. I'm not saying you need to run out and buy this expensive foundation. Wait for a Sephora sale. If you really are interested in trying it, I would just wait to get 20% off of it, because it's really the only discount you're going to get on it. But it's beautiful on the skin. I really, really like it. It's become one of my favorite foundations. But honestly, I think that the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation is a straight up dupe for this. They're almost the exact same. But this is just so beautiful on the skin, and I did pay a hefty price tag for it, so I'm going to use it, but I really, really like it, so I would not return it, and I don't think I can now, but I really like it. It's beautiful on the skin. And then the only concealer I'm going to talk about is the Tarte C Power Flex Concealer. I really love this concealer, you guys. It's become one of my go-tos. It's in the shade Porcelain Sand, and I just think it's such a beautiful hydrating concealer, especially like for work, when I want something that's really nice coverage but also isn't like too full coverage. It's hydrating, it's beautiful, and it really covers beautifully and blends with all of my foundations really nicely. I really have been enjoying this concealer, so I really love that one. Again, I haven't picked up any new foundations or concealers this past month, but that has been my most used concealer this past month. I ended up returning the Dior one, and I didn't like that one as much as this one, like I've said before. Sorry, my boyfriend called me again. I'm just telling him I'm filming. So anyway, so that was all the only things. I'm sorry. I'm literally going crazy right now because every time I want to film something, no one stops bothering me. Okay, so anyway, rant over, because obviously I can't do anything without anybody fucking interrupting me. So that is it for complexion products. It drives me nuts. Just drives me crazy. So now let's just move on to a couple of blushes. Honestly, there's not too many in this video. I'm just going to tell you the two blushes that I've been using the most over this past month, and some of my favorite spring blushes in my collection right now. So the first one is the ColourPop Pressed Powder Blush in the shade Swirled. Honestly, this is one of my favorite blushes that I've tried from ColourPop in quite a long time. It doesn't have like that powdery consistency that most of their other blushes that have come out with like collab collections, or like other collections that are not as pigmented and buildable. I mean, they are buildable, but they're like a little bit more faint and you have to build them up more. This one just like glides on the skin like velvet, and it's just so easy to apply, and it looks so pretty on the skin. This is the blush I'm wearing today. because I thought it looked so pretty with this eyeshadow palette. And it's just such a pretty like pinkish grapefruit kind of shade. And I just think it looks gorgeous on the skin, and I really like how this one looks. I don't know why this one is so much better than some of their other blushes that have come out. Not that I haven't been trying those other blushes. I try a lot of blushes from ColourPop, but this one is just so nice. And again, it's just been one of my go-tos lately. So I really love that one. And then the other one that I used a couple of times this past month is the Winky Lux Cheeky Rose Blush in the shade Tea Time. I mean, first of all, the packaging just screams spring to me. And these are just such gorgeous, these are like some of the most gorgeously packaged blushes, probably the most beautifully packaged blushes in my entire collection. And it's not really like, it does not really feel like a cream on your face at all. It feels like a cream to powder formula, but it goes into a powder like so fast that it just blends beautifully on the skin. It's not really like other cream blushes where like it takes, it looks like a little bit more wet, like creamier on the skin. This just looks like a straight up like cream to powder, and it's just beautiful. I've been loving this, and I've used this a couple of times this past month for a pink blush, and I just love how it looks on the skin. So that is it for blushes. And again, and then for highlighters, I only have one to talk about because I really have just been on a low buy for blushes and highlights lately. I just have way too many at this point. But I did get the ColourPop Winnie the Pooh Silly Old Bear Super Shock Cheek Highlighter. And I used this quite a few times this past month. It's such a gorgeous gold on the skin, and I really, really like this one. Sorry, I'm not really swatching that much in this video, but it's such a gorgeous light gold, and it's so beautiful for fair skin tones, but I also think this is a beautiful highlight for darker skin tones as well. I think it's a universal color that will work for multiple different skin tones, and I think they did a great job with the shade selection of these. And I think they're getting better at the shade selection for their Disney collections and for some of their collections in general. Like, again, the Winnie the Pooh one, they came out with 2 darker highlighters in this collection, and they're beautiful for darker skin. And they also came out with 2 darker lip glosses, which are also beautiful. But I just wanted to say, when I first got this, I used this 3 days in a row because that's how much I loved it. And then I used it a couple of times after that. But it's just so cute, and I was so tempted to get the other gold shade in this collection, but then I decided not to because it's like, Caitlin, you don't need every single highlighter from ColourPop, and you certainly don't need any more highlighters in my, I don't need any more highlighters in my collection, but I had to get this one because, hello, it's Winnie the Pooh. And then just the bronzer I've been using this past month, and this one is the one I usually whip out in the springtime, is the Milani Baked Bronzer in the shade Dolce. It's just such a beautiful bronzer on the skin because it's a baked formula. So it's just super lightweight. It blends out so easily, and it just looks beautiful and luminescent on my skin. So this is why this is my go-to bronzer in the springtime. I absolutely love it, and I also use it throughout the summertime as well. And then I just wanted to talk about one eye primer. I just wanted to mention this one. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in a favorites video, but I just wanted to bring it up today. So this is the ColourPop Party Proof Eye Primer. I really like this primer. I know a lot of people are kind of on the fence about this one, but I think it's a very creamy, nice eye primer, and it just like absorbs into the eyes really, really quickly, and it's just an easy eye primer to use on a daily basis for me, and I really, really like it. So I really have been enjoying this one, and it's an inexpensive primer. So if I like a primer that's inexpensive, I'm going to talk about it because then it doesn't break the bank. So that one I really have been enjoying as well. And then let's just move on to a couple of lip products, and then that's it. So 2 ColourPop lipsticks. The first one, of course, is the ColourPop Star Wars lipstick in the shade Dark Lord. This is one of their luxe lipsticks, and you guys know the luxe lipsticks are pretty much like my favorite formula ever, and it's such a beautiful nude toned lipstick. But I just don't know why they called this Dark Lord. is a little bit weird. I don't know why they decided to name it that, because it's a warm toned nude shade. I understand that the lipsticks, sorry, my nose is still running from when I sneezed and now my nose turned a little red, so sorry about that. You know, but that's life. It's springtime. It's starting to get, you know, warmer and warmer, and there's more pollen outside, so I end up sneezing more. So anyway, I know that the lipsticks in this collection were themed around Darth Vader, but since they had come out with a Darth Vader palette, they could have, you know, like before this collection, they could have come out with coinciding lipsticks with that palette. And then for the Star Wars collection with the Star Wars palette and everything, they could have named the lipsticks after the other characters like Princess Leia, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker. Like, this one would have been better if it was just called Leia and the other one was called Han and the other one was called Luke, but that's just me. I don't know why we need everything named after Darth Vader. I know he's an iconic character, but I kind of think that, you know, since Princess Leia is like the only one that wears makeup in the original movies, can we get some Leia products? Like, please? But anyway, this is a gorgeous nude, and I was wearing this a ton this past month. These end up becoming my go-to nudes. And then the other one is the ColourPop Velvet Blur lipstick in the shade Bloom to Bloom. I can't remember if I talked about this in my last favorites video, but I'm talking about it again, because I absolutely love the Velvet Blur formula as well. The Luxe formula and the Velvet Blur are my two all-time favorite lip formulas from ColourPop, so I wanted to get another nude shade in this formula because I only have two other shades in this formula, and it's just so beautiful. It's a little bit more matte than the Luxe formula, and it just literally is so comfortable on the lips, and if you want like a lightweight matte lipstick, this is absolutely perfect. I absolutely love those. And then for eyeliner, I just wanted to mention one. I mean, there's been a ton that I've been using this past month, but they're pretty much the ones that I mentioned in my last favorites video from ColourPop. But I finally got to use the ColourPop BFF Cream Gel Liner in the shade Sub-Zero, which is kind of like a marigold color. And I don't really use these types of colors until like the spring and summertime. So I finally got to use this one. It's kind of like a gold, marigold metallic liner, and it's so pretty on the waterline. So I'm glad that I finally decided to be able to use this one. Why are sentences so hard? And then let's just finish off with some lip glosses. I actually have been wearing some glosses this past month because in the spring, I really do like wearing lip glosses over my lipsticks. It's just like the finish that I like wearing in the spring and summertime. So I've been using a couple. The one that I've been using the most is the ColourPop So Glassy Lip Gloss in the shade Infinite. This has become my favorite lip gloss formula that ColourPop has ever done. I have never really been crazy about their lip gloss formula, but this one is so nice. It's so comfortable on the lips, and this is the Gold Infinite Lip Gloss. It just feels so like almost like a lip jelly on the lips. It's very similar to like the Tower 28 feeling of those glosses if you guys have tried those, but this one is a little bit more metallic because it's a glittery finish, and I absolutely love it. I've been using it so much. Like whenever I have a lipstick that's a little bit too dry, or if I have like a lipstick I just want to add a little bit of metallicness to, this has been absolutely perfect. So I love that gloss. And then another ColourPop gloss is the ColourPop Luxe Gloss from the Winnie the Pooh collection in the shade Wildflower Honey. I don't think that this was the one that I was intending to get originally. I wanted to get the light one. I don't know if I accidentally added this to my cart by accident, but I really have been enjoying this one, and I've been using this one quite a bit as well. It's such a pretty like honey toned lip gloss, and it has more of like just a shiny finish rather than a super glittery finish, and I really have been enjoying that one too, and it kind of smells a little bit like honey. It's really nice. And then the last one, I've been using this one a ton. I've also been keeping this one in my purse a lot, and I've been using this more than the Fenty Glow one. And this one is the Kaja Gloss Shot in the shade Milk Tea. I mean, I've talked about this before and how much I love this, but I really was using this quite a bit this past month, and it has such a nice, this has like such a hydrating formula. It's not sticky whatsoever, and it's just so nice on the lips, and it just adds hydration to your lips. It's one of the best gloss formulas I've ever tried. And then the last lipstick I wanted to talk about is the Gucci matte lipstick in the shade, what is this called again? Mildred Rosewood. I'm not sure if I talked about it in my last favorites video. I probably did, but I just wanted to mention it again. I really like this lipstick formula. It's very lightweight, and no matter how much you layer it on your lips, it's so comfortable, and I really have been enjoying it, and I wore it quite a few times this past month. And yeah, that is it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a short and sweet favorites video, and I kind of like when they're a little bit shorter, so I'm not rambling for a million years. So yeah, that's it, you guys. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CPW819, and check out my Poshmark at the same handle, CPW819. I cannot speak. And let me know what your favorites were this month, and let me know if you tried any of these products yourself and what are your thoughts. I would love to know. And I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye.